well, we've been talking about sort of what a typical day looks like. Let's see what the cutscene looked like from that day.
Oh boy, here we go.
All those mocap suits.
I apologize. Guten Tag. Marker? Anyone familiar with Deadwood, the show Deadwood? I recognize someone in
Thanks for the heroics and all. Ellie. Hey, what are you... Joel?
Bill!
What are you doing?
Bill!
Oh my God!
Turn around and get on your knees.
Just calm down a second.
Turn around.
All right.
Get on your knees. Don't test me. Just
take it easy.
any bites?
No.
Anything sprouting?
God damn it, I'm clean.
If I see so much as a twitch.
Ow! Stop!
Son of a
He actually got
bitch!
hit there, by the way.
You done? Am I done? You come into my house. You set off all my traps. You damn near break my shooting arm. Who the fuck is this punk and what's she doing here?
I am none of your goddamn business, and we're here because you owe Joel some favors. You can start by taking these off.
I owe Joel some favors. Is some kind of joke?
I'll cut to the chase. I need a car.
Well, it is a joke. Joel needs a car. Well, if I had one that works, which I sure as hell don't, what makes you think I'd just give it to you? Huh? Yeah, sure, Joel. Go ahead. Take my car. Take all my food, too, while you're at it.
By the looks of it, you could lose some of that food.
You listen to me, you little
No,
shit.
fuck you. You handcuffed
I
me.
need you to shut up. All right?
Whatever favors you think I owe you ain't worth that much.
Actually, Bill, they are.
Well, it don't matter because I don't have a car that works.
But there is one in this town.
Parts. There are parts in this town.
Meaning that you could fix one up.
All right. If I'm going to do this, there's some gear I'm going to need. All right. It's on the other side of town. Now you help me go gather it, and maybe I can put something together that runs. But after this, I owe you nothing.
That's fine. A couple of days from now, we'll probably be dead anyway.
Good. Follow me. Whole goddamn town's booby trapped. Best stay right on my ass.
Can't miss it.
Knock it off.
W. Earl Brown from Deadwood. Dan Doherty. It was so good, and that was actually the first time. I know I'm such a Deadwood fan that when he walked in, I was like, oh, don't hurt me. But it was the first time that we had, it had just been Ashley and I up to that point, and this was still very early on. It was the first time to have a third person in on the stage, and it was interesting, you know. It changes the dynamic because we were so used to it just being the two of us, and then finally to have another third component come in, it was it kind of changed it up a little bit.
But like looking at that, like I could really read the emotions like in your face. Like what kinds of things do you do to prep to sort of get in character? Because that's really powerful. I mean, that really helps when we take it on to the next stage. Sort of our animators really translate that emotion, but like it feels like you're actually in that space. What kind of things do you do to prep for that?
You do.
I prep. That's a very good question. You know, a lot of times for me, sounds silly, but like the imaginary circumstances are enough for me. So, especially since I've grown attached to Troy, and you know, thinking about if we were actually in this situation, a lot of emotions will come up just in me. So therefore, that will come out in Ellie. So you know, when we're actually shooting and on stage, I don't feel like I'm playing Ellie. I'm just being me. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm one of those actors that like sits at home the night before and starts preparing.
Yeah.
It just kind of.
No,
I
see what you're saying, because I'm the same way. Most actors, you know, a lot of times the preparing and the spending time poring over the lines can actually inhibit you and be to your detriment, because you're doing it by yourself as opposed to just being with another person and listening and interacting with them. And whatever I prepare for, she could be totally different on the day, as we say, when we're actually shooting. So I think the main thing that I could do to prepare is to know my lines, but to be open and be prepared for anything. That's probably how we prepare best. Yeah.
Do you sit down and talk about, like, in between scenes or whatever with Neil, do you sit down and talk about sort of what you could change in terms of, you know your lines, right? Like, do you ever get to the sort of input where someone, both of you are talking together and saying, well, I wish I played it a little bit more, I don't know, serious or dramatic, or, what?
Neil is really cool. He's gotten to the point now to where he understands as soon as he sends the email out with those scenes, to expect a call from me in about 15 minutes. And he's made himself very, very accessible. And that's one of the greatest qualities about him, is that he is incredibly humble and incredibly accessible. And we'll sit and we'll talk for an hour or so about the scenes. Why did you do this? I'm trying to understand this. Because a lot of actors, the phrase is, bullshit, 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 my line. And that's how most actors prepare. But to me, it's all of the stuff that's happening between those lines. It's all of Joel walks through the door and that kind of thing. And Neil's really good about explaining it to me. And we have such freedom to question the choices, the lines, the scene, that gives us the confidence, because we know that we can approach him with anything and that he's open to responding to it. So Neil's very, very good about that.
Well, Neil mentioned in the video that, Joel has lived through the pandemic. He was born before it. And actually, she only knows what the post-pandemic world is like. How much have you learned from sort of that archetype? Like, what kind of person was Joel when you walked on set the first day? What kind of person was Ellie when you walked on set? And then since then, what has changed? What greater insight have you gotten in terms of who they are?
The anchor that I had, that I tied myself to with Joel, was a single line that was in the audition sides. And it said that Joel had no moral line left to cross. And to me, that spoke volumes about the character, because the things you have to go through to be in that place, I don't ever want to be in, because that's a very, very sad character, sad person. And being able to have that center point allowed me to move around, and then we began to really color in who Joel was. And we've shot a lot of stuff out of sequence, but with each scene, because each scene plays so much into the story, it's not like a boss fight, it's something that actually means something, that's revealing something about the characters in the story. Every time there's more skin, there's more meat, there's more bone that's added to Joel with every scene that we do.
I think, Ellie's only grown up in a quarantine zone, so she's never seen outside of that city. So what I think is interesting when our characters meet and we go on our journey, she's seeing the world for the first time, so it's kind of cool having these two characters of a man that's so jaded and seen everything is like, yeah, whatever, this is boring. And then you have Ellie that's like, whoa, this is what it's like out here, this is crazy. So, but I think, being that we've been with the characters for a year and a half, it's like working on a theater show, where it's like you're with a character for so long that like you're saying, more skin gets added, more bone. It's like you get to know the character so much more as you would yourself.
Well, again, both of your characters really sort of contrast each other.
Yes.
What can you say about sort of where the characters are headed, right? Like, they're obviously together for the entire journey of the game. They're rubbing off on each other. What have you learned? We're not done with development yet, so obviously there's still a little bit more to go for that. But
No spoilers.
Right, but obviously you're learning about sort of where their character arc is going.
I think that with any character that's like this, like Joel, for me, whether whether Joel wants to admit it or not, there's still the need for redemption. Because again, anyone who's in the dark place that he is in, and again, I go back to the trailer that we showed at Gamescom last night, to be able to say that I've been on both sides. Basically, I've been the good guy and the bad guy, so I know how both work. There's been a lot of cost to his life, and with the result of that is that you need redemption. And I think that there's a conflict with Ellie because he sees her as the redemption, but it's not just. It's so hard to talk about it without revealing so much, but because the focal point is all about the relationship with Ellie, that of course is going to be the main thing that I think that develops. And in the relationship developing, I think each character independently develops.
Well, you're rubbing off on each other, right?
Yeah.
It's really sort of what's happening, right? Like, Ellie's seeing the outside world, but it's not the greatest place. I mean, she's learning from Joel, you know, that some people do play both sides. So I wanted to show how the video looks like, the cutscene looks like. It's a little snippet of what it looks like in each stage of our performance.